Hello, my friends. This isn't going to be any specific series video. I just want to quickly go over the what deck I went into to get the dangers that you saw in my Limit 1 Festival deck, as well as some of the others that I unlocked by opening up a few packs of the Danger Secret Pack, basically. So anyway, looks like the Danger Secret Pack I'll get to last. I'll get to the other ones first. Okay, so I'll just go in order. Okay, so here's the first one, Curse of the Serpent, and after this I'll probably do another Legacy Pack opening since I have more than enough. Anyway, so this first pack here is the Curse of the Serpent, which is actually perfect since this kind of fits into Limit 1 Festival theme. Although I'll no, I'm probably this should be inside the this can just be a day where I'm not putting out a video anyway. So since this is a look at the reptilian cards, I think I will put out this video before the festival ends. It'll probably be like on the last day, but it will be technically before the festival ends, or at least I'll try. Anyway, so I'll hover through the cards and I'll talk about the notable ones. So it seems like this secret pack is mostly about the reptilians, and of course, Echidna. I kind of went over the loner deck for this, but Echidna is probably a really good link for the deck because she can search for multiple cards, and then you can even combo afterwards for the Reptilian Hydra Synchro play, where you basically just destroy all of those monsters and then draw a whole bunch of cards. Not only are you searching a bunch of reptiles, but you're also drawing a bunch of cards. So yeah, it's doubly good. And then Phenomenon, probably not as needed. Neither is a Phenomenaga. Snake Rain is also a very good card because you get to send 4 reptiles. It's a very good card for the reptilian deck. I was kind of surprised that they didn't. I was really surprised that they didn't include this in the loner deck, because this would be a really good card because it can send your graveyard centric cards like Lamia, like the Ya Moi Moi, etc. Anyway, yeah, and of course, like filling up your graveyard can also be nice, because then you can basically be able to start out right away with like a fairly high attack Ananta if you really want to do it that way, and then in that case you want to send reptiles to the graveyard that you don't care about, so they aren't just, so your really good ones aren't being banished by Ananta. I mean, it does make her respectably have a pretty respectable 2400 attack. 2400 attack and defense. Anyway, but as you saw, if your opponent activates something that negates her effects, even just temporarily, she permanently loses that attack and defense. She just forgets about it, which really sucks. Anyway, Hydra, I talked about that one a little bit. And then Viper, probably another really useful card. Better, as more situational Kaiju, but as long as you can get at least one of your opponent's monsters tributed, she can be a better Kaiju since you do get her on the field. And she has the potential to even tribute 2 of your opponent's monsters as well. And then Lamia. And again, as I said in the loner deck here, I want to say a little bit more because I kind of missed out, so this is another chance to explain it. I'm saying if your opponent even just has like one monster that has zero attack and has another monster without zero attack, she's still really good to go into, because then you can just change that other monster's attack to zero, and you get to still search out 2 cards. And it would be great if you could search out 2 cards like the Codal and maybe one of your level 2 tuner reptilians to be able to go into Reptilian Hydra right away, and then you get to not only search for 2 cards, but even just searching for 2 cards and drawing 2 cards is while destroying those monsters on your opponent's side of the field is really nice. Say even something like that is pretty good. Like that's basically I don't know how much of a plus you're going right there, but I would say it's definitely really good. Because Hydra is also kind of nice because it has a pretty respectable stat line too. And then of course Hyperia. I mean, I guess Hyperia could be good too. I mean, if it's summoned in any way, you get to draw a card, and then it's only a hard once per turn. So Hyperia is probably worth playing. Especially if you can consistently summon it at least once every turn. Then you can keep getting yourself more cards. It might be cool. And of course, looks like it also has some of the Venom monsters as well. Venom Swamp. Unfortunately, this doesn't really work all that well with the reptilians, since if the monster's attack was already 0 and then you're placing a venom counter on a monster that's already at 0 attack, it unfortunately won't get destroyed because it technically won't lose any attack. So that is a little bit unfortunate. And it seems a bit slow for the Venom archetype, but it does have the potential. If like Venoms become really good, and maybe they have a way of like speeding up Venom Swamp a little bit, it could become pretty good. Often, but as it is, it's kind of slow since it's only during each player's end phase. Even that is a little slow. Because usually, your opponent's monsters will have really high attack. Like a monster with 3,000 attack, it basically takes, it's basically gonna take like 6 turns or something like that for them to basically be destroyed. And by that time, your opponent has probably already link summoned them away or something. But offering to stake down deity is not such a bad card, especially if you're like pairing it with Gardener to destroy the Gardener, and then you get the search and you get the to pop 2 other cards. It pairs pretty well, like if you're able to summon, if you're able to take control of your opponent's stuff via some of the reptilian effects and then make them reptiles. That can also be kind of nice. Then you're basically just destroying a bunch of your opponent's stuff. Anyway, Reptilian Vipers, a more restrictive mind control, but it can be pretty nice in a reptilian based deck. It should probably be played if you're playing that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go through these a little bit faster since I explained a lot of the cards. I just mostly wanted to go over the reason why I think Echidna and Hydra are really good together. And also the Snake Rain too, which I feel should have been in the Loner deck, but oh well. So here's the other cards. You can feel free to pause if you need to. Yowie probably not as good. Yeah, I mean, skipping your opponent's draw phase is kind of cool, but it can only be activated once per duel. There's probably better ways of skipping your opponent's draw phase and being able to keep on doing that. Venom Shot, Reptilian Spawn, Reptilian Poison. Probably a card you would probably want to be playing. It does have to be a defense, but if you can target defense, that can be really nice. And Viper's Rebirth, definitely a really good card. You definitely want to be probably playing it in like, well, I don't know. You could also just replace this with a Monster Reborn, but basically could help you have like 4 summon like graveyard summon effects if you really wanted. Rise of the Snake Deity for use with Phenomenon, but it's probably better just not play them. Venom, the Venom archetype, of course, all pretty bad right now. I think there just needs to be better Venom support, and then maybe it can be pretty good. But I mean, these ones aren't that great. Boa is probably too high of a level. It probably just needs to be a better way of being able to like special summon multiples out of your deck. And then maybe the Venom archetype could actually be good. And then here's a few of the Reptilian, and I already went over that. One cool thing that I did find on Serpent is you could like there's like a way you can like use this with the Tyrant Neptune along with another card that basically protects it from being destroyed by card effect. Because how the Tyrant Neptune works is it basically gains the effects of the monsters that are attributed in order to tribute summon it. So basically you can tribute summon this with the Servant, and there's a monster that can help protect it from being able to be destroyed by card effects. So which gets around the destroy this card if the face of monsters on the field other than this card. So it makes it a little bit higher. So it makes it a little bit more of a better floodgate that has high attack and can't just be destroyed real easily. And then neither player can normal summon. And then you can also activate some cards that also prevent special summons as well, like Vanity's Emptiness, to lock out like a bunch of different ways of summoning. But the only problem with that is, of course, Tyrant Cobra is banned. But I thought that was a pretty fun, like little combo you can do that I thought was pretty cool. And then, of course, some of the equipped spells, probably not that great to play. It's kind of cool that Reptilian Rage at least makes the equipped monster become reptile type, thereby opening the way to like offerings the Snake Deity, where you can basically steal one of your opponent's monsters and then make it reptile with Reptilian Rage, and in order to be able to destroy it and like 2 of your opponent's cards with the trap card effect. But probably not a good enough reason to use it though. Of course, Snake Whistle, that's a really good card. Any reptile deck would probably definitely want to use it, especially since the reptile type monster can be destroyed in any way, not just by battle. And then Damage Equals Reptile, another good card for reptile decks. Snake Deity's Command, I guess it's kind of good for... No, not really, because it only negates spells. Ambush Fangs and Venom Burn. And then Serpent Suppression. Face-up attack position monsters with 0 attack your opponent controls cannot be destroyed by battle with reptilian monsters. The reason why you would want to play that is so you can like have them be left on the field, so you can like later do other things with them, like steal them with the Viper, tribute them with the Vasky, like be able to constantly keep special summoning out the Lamia. But it's probably not that great, since your opponent can just... Since if you let your opponent keep those monsters, they can just use them for link plays. So you're probably better off not using this trap card. Because as long as it's a good enough reptilian deck, you should be able to do stuff without having to use that trap card. Otherwise it's probably just too slow. And then Venom Burn is notable. Like this is probably the one of the best reasons you would want to give your opponent Venom counters, so you can like maybe burn them down enough, or like OTK them with the Venom Burn. But like there's better ways of like burning your opponent down to where they lose, especially with like the Mystic Mind Burn deck that's in effect. So yeah, but it can be a fun deck, at least that Venom, I guess. But I don't know. I think there's even better fun decks out there, casual decks out there than the Venoms. I think Reptilians are probably the best archetype in this secret pack. They're like way more fun than the Venoms, I would say. Anyway, there was the first one, the Curse of the Serpent. But like any like specifically competitive decks, I know there's a Snake Rain is probably the best card in here, cause I know there's a I know there's an archetype in the TCG that runs on reptiles that are really good. That, and of course they pair really well with Snake Rain because they have graveyard effects as well. I'm not sure if that archetype's actually in Master League yet, but you might want to keep your eye out in case it does come, and then you can pick up, and then you know which secret pack to pick up Snake Rain, and it's Curse of the Serpent. And you can simply unlock it by crafting one of these super rares, basically. The best super rare to craft probably being one of the Reptilians, because at least they can be kind of useful. Probably the Hydra, though. So, well, I thought the Hydra was... generic, but it's not. It specifically calls for a Reptilian tuner. But I still think that's... Well, actually, probably this one. Because at least this one is more generic. And that one may even be able to be used with the... No, probably not, since it's a trap con. And there's probably better ways of destroying your opponent's stuff. Anyway, I'll go on to the next one now. I feel like I showed off that Curse of the Serpent before, but hey, there's another look for you. I know I already showed off this deck before. I showed it off when I was going through the Shiranui solo mode gate, but I'll show it off again. I'll probably just go quick here. So it's got, looks like it's got some Shiranuis, some Mayakashis, and some more Mayakashis for you. And then it's also got some really good generic zombie support, like Gozuki and Mizuki are both really good zombie support. I do definitely remember going through this. And then of course, like most of the Mayakashi synchros, you should probably have at least one of each. Probably more, because the Mayakashis are really good at like being able to like, you go into one and then you use this one, because since a Mayakashi was being special summoned from the extra deck, you bring her out again, and then you go into one with 2 more levels, and then you just keep doing it until you end on a really high level Mayakashi, and it also leaves you with a bunch of Mayakashis in the graveyard, which is pretty good since they have graveyard effects as well, where if you're going into links... Oh, no. This one is for links, this one is for synchros. If a synchro monster... If a specific leveled synchro monster, one that's too high than itself, is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you get to special summon this card, and then you can keep going down the line. So they're very sticky, too. Anyway, Kasha, Shiranui, Spectral Shade, and a lot of these Shiranuis are pretty good too. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of really good cards for both the Shiranui archetype and the Mayakashi archetype, along with a few really good generic zombies as well, like Samurai Skull is pretty good, and then the Gozuki and Mizuki. But if you just want the Samurai Skull and you don't really need Gozuki and Mizuki for some reason, you can always just craft that. But I mean, if you are going for Gozuki and Mizuki, you're probably just gonna be able to get. You should be able, unless you're like extremely unlucky, you should be able to get 3 skulls, 3 of those skull guys, just by going through this deck. And I feel like having 3 of him is not too bad. Of course, it doesn't have all of the good generic zombie support, but it has a few of them. It doesn't look like the Uni zombie is in here though, so that's a little unfortunate. Anyway, so there's that secret pack. If you're interested in playing the Shiranuis or Mayakashis, you can always look up some example deck lists and then go off of that. Yeah, but there's that X deck. I can give you at least some of the notable ones. I think this one's pretty good. This one's pretty notable for the archetype. You probably want at least one of this if you're building a Shiranui deck. You probably want this one for if you're building Mayakashi. And I think and since a few of these are pretty generic, you might even, like these 2 are generic, they just simply call for zombies. You could probably even combine the Mayakashis with the Shiranuis as well. Yeah. So yeah, that can also be kind of good. This one, and then of course all the Synchros Mayakashis, you want to at least pick up 1 of each of them. Maybe even a couple more copies of some of them. I don't know. Yeah, you probably want to pick up at least 1 copy of pretty much all the high rarity Mayakashi and Shiranui stuff. At least 1 copy, maybe more. You can always look that up. Except maybe him. Actually, like, he special summons a Mayakashi. So you probably want 3 of the Daki, 3 of the Heijin, and then 3 of each of the Mizuki and the Gozuki. Because they're good in both the Mayakashi and Shiranui builds, and like even outside Mayakashi and Shiranui zombie builds. And then you probably also want to pick up 3 Mayakashi returns, since this also allows you to search for any Mayakashi card. And then you can decide what you want from the lower rarities. I mean, of course, like if you're not able to pick up 3 of the lower rarity ones that you need, you can always just craft them. These don't really matter as much, since I mean it's so easy just to craft these. So even if you mess up the ratios for the low rarities, you can always just craft them later on. But some things I do know about is the Shade. You probably want to play, I think, 2 or 3 of that. Definitely 3 of the Squire. I think you want to play. I'm not sure about the Ice Mayakashi. You might want to play. Oh yeah, this mills a zombie, so it can mill the Daki. So probably 3 of her would be fine. Probably 3 of the Ghost Meets Go. Like, a lot of these are pretty good to use at 3. This one seems not bad to use. Maybe this one could be played less, but like that one might be good for 3. This, I don't know about that one though. So yeah. And then I think Samurai Skull is a pretty good 3 of as well. And then so those are some of the notable cards. Anyway, I'll go into next pack now, secret pack, which is called Blazing Warriors. Okay, so in this one you can get a few of the heroic champion. You can also get a few battling boxes. This is also where you get one of the best heroic champions, the Rongo Miniad. So if you're planning to play something like Burning Abyss or any other rank 3 deck, that's also playing level 4 warriors at the same time. You could play in that deck as well. And then the 7th one, this is really luck based, but it's really good if you can draw. So this one is more of a fun card, I would say, than anything. You can force a draw sometimes, but I still don't think it's that worth it. Besides that Rongomania, like, these are more just like if you're looking to play in their specific archetype, I would say. Although a few of them are pretty good, like the Thousand Blades pairs up pretty well with the Performing Trick Clown. You take damage with the Trick Clown, and then if this card is also in the graveyard, you then get to special summon this card because you took damage with the Trick Clown. And you can keep using it during each of your turns, since it's just a hard ones per turn. Solar Challenge doesn't seem that great. And then all these, yeah, more specific stuff. That's really only good if you're playing either the Battling Boxers or Heroic Champions. So yeah, a bunch of more Battling Boxer and Heroic Champion stuff. A few of these might be pretty good generically, but I think a lot of these are more specific to those archetypes. If you think a few of these would actually be useful for your deck if you're pausing it to read the effects, then you can always feel free to use them, or you can ask around if like you think one card could actually be useful to you. I suppose, like, since a few of these other Heroic Champions, yeah, since a few of these other Heroic Champions, maybe even Battling Boxers, are more generic. Although the Battling Boxers do specify Battling Boxer, but I think more so for the Heroic Champions. I guess this one's pretty generic too, so maybe you could use this, but it's kind of high requirements for level 5 monsters. So like maybe just like if you're playing a lot of warriors, you could consider maybe picking up a few of the other Heroic Champions, because this one is a pretty generic, just double its attack, its original attack, which can be kind of good. This one has the effect that lets you destroy a special summon monster on the field, but there's probably better cards for that. This one has a pretty good effect, allowing you to negate the activation of a trap card and destroy it. That one specifically calls for Battling Boxes. Yeah, and then those, yeah, that also specifically. There's a kind of a cool OTK you can do with Battling Boxer, Heroic Champion Excalibur also, where what you can do is you can activate the Excalibur effect, and then basically after that activate like 2 Heroic Chances, and then pretty much and then if your opponent has any monster in attack position, that can just be game. Yeah, so that's not too bad of a little combo thing, but it's probably more for fun than anything. Anyway, so that's my take on this secret pack here. Yeah, there are a few notable cards, definitely. I'll go into the next secret pack now, which is Captivating Current Call. So I don't believe I went through that one, because I don't remember seeing the Rongomania before, and I know I didn't go through this one either, so that's pretty cool. So this one looks like it has a lot of really good Pendulum Magician cards in here. So are there any notable ones? I don't know if that's a very notable one. I think it's more just the performable pendulum monsters that are more notable than anything. This one can be kind of cool since you get to target up to 2 cards you control, and then add an equal amount of pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. So that's not bad. And then this one doesn't seem that great. Neither does those. This one, I guess it's kind of cool. It's another way to add a performing monster, but since it's not a pendulum monster, I don't know if it would really be as good. You got like a bunch of other ways of being able to search for monsters, pendulum monsters. Like also the Skull Crobat Joker also searches for a bunch of different archetype monsters, and it's a pendulum monster as well. And I believe that's not banned for Master Duel. Oh, yeah, it's not banned because it goes by. Yeah, it goes by. Oh yeah, so this is kind of a cool way to see like if they can be used in the festival or not. You just like where it says standard, you can switch it depending on which format's ban list you want to see. So according to the standard ban list, Performable Skull Crobat Joker is completely free from the list, so you can play 3 if you want. And this one is probably a really good one to play 3 of anyway. So I think this one is also a pretty good one to play at 3. And then I'll go further. This one allows you to add high level stuff either from your graveyard or face up in your extra deck to your hand. But that's pretty situational. And also the thing about pendulums is a lot of, well no, then you can just add it from your extra deck to your hand. But the fact that it's level 7 or higher does make it seem a little situational. Probably wouldn't be played. This probably wouldn't be played because this is, you have to control 4 performing monsters with different types. So that can be kind of hard to get off, I think. Friend Donkey, I don't know about those either. But Second Donkey does at least have the thing, the Cactus Fighter that you saw where you, but like you probably don't really need this. Like you can probably just complete the missions normally. I think they did make the missions a lot easier to win at, to like complete. I don't know though. I guess if they do have like another destroy a certain number of monsters by battle, you can always go with the Kaleidoscope plus Cactus Fighter effect, where you, and also with the Odroma Trio and other cards that give your opponent counters, where you, and this can act as a search for the Kaleidoscope, and then the Kaleidoscope can be pendulum summoned along with the Cactus Fighter in order to make the Cactus Fighter able to attack all of your opponent's special summon monsters once each, which when Cactus Fighter, and then having the Cactus Fighter simply destroying one of your opponent's monster, a count or a token that you gave your opponent, and then destroy, and then since you keep special summoning tokens to your opponent's side of the field, each time it destroys a monster by battle, you get to keep summoning tokens, and it gets to attack each of them. Keep attacking the tokens since they get special summoned. So yeah. And then if you want like more information on that Cactus Fighter, I'm sure you can like look it up, and then you can find something where if you like look it up from like, I know that was a pretty big thing in some of the other festivals, you can probably find it, a way to like get the Destruction by Battle mission done quick if you really need it. So yeah, that's, but it is a rare though, so like if you need it, you can always just craft it later. But If you need to go for some of these other cards, I guess, like, you're probably going to be able to pick up 3 just by opening packs, going for some of those high rarity cards. So here are some of the other cards. Oh yeah, this is the Perform Able card that doesn't have an effect. Wow. Okay, a few more. Okay. And that's it. So I think really the only good cards here are really just the Perform Able Pendulum Sorcerer and the Skull Crobat. And then maybe a few of the other ones that add you might want to consider playing, but I don't know. I don't think like it's that like much of a necessity. Anyway, and then of course the second donkey if you are trying to build that cactus spider deck to beat that destroy by battle mission quicker. If they even have keep having that. I'm not sure because I usually get the missions done by the time I finish the festivals anyway. Usually it seems like it's pretty easy if you're going all the way to 22,000. So yeah, so there's that secret pack, and then here's the last one. So this one is notable since this is how I got the dangers, the jackalope. See, and here it shows that the jackalope is semi-limited. But it looks like all of the other dangers are free from the list here. And of course, if you're doing this, you'll be able to see if any of these cards will be banned from the Limit 1 Festival. It doesn't look like any of them are. So that's cool. Anyway, so this also has a few of the. This also has a Kaiju archetype in it too, and the Kaijus are just pretty good in general, especially the Gamma Seal being probably the best Kaiju just to play against the opponent. But if you are playing the Kyoto Waterfront variant deck, you could maybe pick up a few of the other Kaijus as well. Quite a few of them are rares, so yeah. Dargaran. I guess Dargaran, the reason why it's UR is because it has a really good counter effect. You probably wouldn't special summon this card against your opponent. It's nice that the Gamma Seal, at least, is probably the best Kaiju just in general, but it's like lower rarity than the Dargaran, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, this one is probably just better if like you're playing the pure archetype deck with where you're actually trying to use them for their counter effects as well. And then Danger Bigfoot. But the Kaiju deck is a little bit harder to play, I think, because like you can't really just normal summon them. You kind of need to like put one on your opponent's field first, and then put one on your field. But the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber does make it a bit easier. But I feel like, but I'm pretty sure this also requires a field from your opponent as well. But that shouldn't be too hard, because your opponent is probably gonna have monsters, so you shouldn't have to worry about that too much. But I guess it does kind of suck going first because, like, well, that's probably why either give your opponent a count or a token, or better yet, just going second would be bad for the Kaiju deck. Anyway, here's one of the dangers I'm playing, so I went over that card. Pendran section. Okay, but I'm gonna try my best at like saying how many copies of each. This one, it seems pretty good. I mean, I guess play 3 of this, because destroying all monsters your opponent controls can also be kind of nice. I don't know, maybe you just need one of him. And then Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. This is a good card. probably just play one of the Kaiju Slumber, or maybe even 3. Like if you really want to like destroy all monsters and then special summon 2 Kaiju monsters on each player's field. Or this might even be a good one to play 3 of in a Kaiju deck especially. Also because its graveyard effect isn't that bad, so you can run the Kaiju deck with a few copies of Foolish Brittle Goods and then send this to the graveyard, and then on a later turn you can add a Kaiju, search for a Kaiju, basically a Kaiju monster. And then Pandren section. I don't think you would really need to play this card in a rank 4 spam deck. Humongous. It's Kaiju effect. Probably. I guess it's also kind of notable because it's got the second least amount of attack points. But its Kaiju effect isn't too bad since it can stop a monster from being able to attack or activate its effects. And you can choose when you're activating it. So you don't need to. Well, actually, you can do it more than once, so that's pretty nice. None of these monsters have once per turns. Pretty much because like it might be a little bit hard to have a bunch of kaiju counters, but if you can save up a bunch of kaiju counters, since they're not once per turn effects, some of these effects can actually be pretty good. Like this one also, this one just can negate a card, any card or effect, and also banish that card, so that's pretty nice. It doesn't actually destroy it, just banishes it, so it can get around destruction immune stuff as well. And then Danger Nessie is. This is probably a danger card that you want to be playing at 3. Maybe play 3 of the Bigfoot, I don't know. Yeah, probably 3 of the Bigfoot is fine. And then 3 Nessie. Since this one can also search for a danger. And then Danger Jackalope, you have to play 2 Jackalopes. You probably want to play the 2 Jackalopes in a danger deck. I mean, of course, like, ratios might change a little bit if you're, like, mixing the dangers with anything. But if you're not, these are probably, like, the good ratios. Of course, if you're mixing with Dark Lords, then you probably want to play as many dangers as you can. Just because a lot of them, like, because they can also help you get, like, discard your Dark Lords, which gives you even more advantage off of that. Dangerous Snake might be good, too. I don't know. It really only special summons itself. You could maybe get a draw, but it's probably one of the weaker dangers. And then here's the I don't think this is that great of a card. This is like counter to kaijus, but you probably don't really need that. And of course a few more kaijus. This one simply just special summons tokens. So probably not as great of a counter effect, but maybe. And then Gadala probably doesn't really have that great of a counter effect either. You probably want to mostly look out for the ones that can negate effects. So Game of Seal is probably one of the best ones. And then Humongous isn't too bad either, since it also stops attacking at the same time, so that's not bad. And of course, if you're just running the kaijus to interrupt your opponent, you probably really only need to pick up Gamma Seal, since that has the lowest attack. Just probably 3 of the Gamma Seal. And then Thunderbird is pretty nice. I kind of already went over this, but in a regular danger deck, this is probably fine to play 3 of. I think. And then Realm of Danger. You probably don't want to play this, even in a danger deck. It's not that great. And then Danger, Excitement, Mystery. You probably don't really need to play it since you can easily get dangers, discard dangers anyway. It searches for a danger, but like the Nessie already does that, pretty much. And then Danger Zone. This one you draw 3 cards. It's probably not that great, but it's kind of cool. You do get to draw 3 cards. And just make sure that you have at least 1 danger in your hand before activating this. And then you don't have to worry about the whole downside of this. I mean, it can be kind of useful. It seems kind of useful. It's like, it's basically, it's kind of like a trap graceful charity. And then Danger Chupacabra is another one. This one is probably fine in a danger deck as well. You could probably play 3 of this. Yeah. Maybe less, I don't know. But I think 3 is fine. Just make sure you have a danger, monster in your graveyard before activating this, I guess. Since you can't target itself to spell summon it. Danger Dogman, probably one of the weakest dangers. I already explained why I was running it in my festival deck. I don't really care though if it's one of the weakest. I like it because it's a Beast Warrior for that festival deck of mine. And then Danger Mothman. This one seems fine, especially in a danger deck, because it basically, you either get to draw a card, or you can basically have basically a Dark World Dealings-esque effect. So this one seems fine too. And then Danger Ogopogo, but like in a pure danger deck, it's probably fine in either a pure danger deck or a Dark World deck. Maybe, I don't know about playing 3 of it. Maybe you could just play less. And then Danger Ogopogo. This one seems pretty good since you get to send a danger card from your deck to the graveyard. It allows you to mill a danger card. Yeah. But it's probably not as good as adding. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, you probably don't need to play this in very many danger decks. I don't think very many danger decks would play this. It helps filter out your deck a little bit, but you'd probably rather just search them because you kind of want them in your hand since you can use their effects right away. And even if your opponent tries to negate them with Ash Blossom, you can just keep using their effects until they go off. And then the next one is Coyote Waterfront. Pretty much a needed card for the Kaiju deck if you're planning to play the counter variant of it, where you basically play a bunch of Kaijus and then try to accumulate a bunch of counters. It also has a pretty nice effect since you get to just add a Kaiju monster while it has 3 or more Kaiju counters. And also you accumulate another counter on this card when a card is sent from the field to the graveyard. You get to accumulate 1 counter for each. But unfortunately it only holds 5. And it also has a built-in protection from destruction effect. And the nice thing about the adding a Kaiju, you don't have to remove counters from this card in order to add a Kaiju monster. So that's pretty nice. And Kaiju Fouls is probably another pretty good one. Since you get to special summon Kaijus from your deck with this card. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But unfortunately with kaijus, when it comes to kaijus, they do have that where they do have that solitary weakness where they want to be alone, where you're only allowed to control one kaiju monster on the field at a time. So that kind of sucks, but still. And then here's a danger response team. A lot of these danger spells and traps aren't that great. I think maybe yeah, I think the only one you might want to consider playing, if anything, is the danger zone, and that's about it. You could maybe consider playing this at like 2 or 3, but you don't really need to, since the dangers already work out pretty well, just the monsters themselves. Anyway, there's my thoughts on each of these secret packs, so now I'll go into a legacy pack opening. But of course, I'll go ahead and do my outro now. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, considering that notification bell for regular content. And I'll see everyone who doesn't want to save for a pack opening in the next one. But as for the rest of you, I'll do a legacy pack. This was actually really great because I was able to make this an hour, which I didn't think I would be able to. I kind of like it when I can like have like consistent like hour-long videos. I don't know if YouTube really likes consistent hour-long videos, but I mean I'm just getting into it. I like it when my videos are consistent with their length. But of course, if a video isn't gonna be an hour, that's okay too. I don't know. Maybe YouTube does appreciate when you can have when you have consistent lengths of videos. I don't know. Anyway, I'll go through these. You get at least a little bit of a look, but like of course like. Oh, I got a dew frog. I already have 3 dew frogs though, but that's kind of cool. At least I can disenchant one of my dew frogs that I did craft, so it's not a total waste. It's kind of nice. Cool, I got that. Got a hollow of that card. That's cool. Got another new card. I'm still getting quite a few new cards. Wow. Got a UR right here. Doesn't seem like that great of a UR, but it's still pretty cool. It does have a graveyard effect where you get to target a Utopia monster on your field to attach it to this monster along with special summoning this monster from the graveyard. So I guess if that Utopia has ran out of materials and it's no longer useful to you, this could be special summon. It doesn't have that great of a detach effect, and doesn't even really work against links, but I guess like it is useful if you're going against a big like fusion heavy deck or like exceed heavy deck, stuff like that. So anyway, I'll go through each of these. Messenger of Peace can be a pretty fun lockdown. It's not the greatest lockdown effect in the world, but it can be pretty fun, like if you're trying to make it so that your opponent can never attack. Try to lock them down so you can like lock them down from attacking and everything, so that you can like burn them down, or like maybe even like final countdown them down. But Mystic Mine probably is like the best at this point. But it's a fun option if you don't feel like playing Mystic Mine. Dice Jar, it's a pretty fun burn card. Not really a great burn card since it's really random, but hey, it can be fun since sometimes it can just deal 6,000 damage to one player. Legacy Hunter, and then there's the Dupe Frog, Strongwind Dragon, Attention, Koi Box, Kodo, Beast of Pharaoh. No, this isn't that great. Although it's kind of fun, like if you're playing a synchro heavy zombie deck, but it's still not like gonna be that great. But I mean, it definitely seems fun. A lot of the cards from the Legacy pack are probably not that great, but there are a few notable cards like Reckless Greed, of course the Dew Fog. I think the Rollington is also available here. That's another good frog card. But of course, like those are like the lower rarity ones that you can just like craft anyway. But like there are a few notable high rarity stuff as well, like that one good card that like locks down your opponent from summoning like more monsters than you have on the field. Kaiser Coliseum is a good one. And then Reckless Greed also, which basically allows you to draw 2 cards, but then you skip your next 2 draw phases, which is kind of notable since that's also a normal trap, so that can be searched by a few of the notable cards that can like search for like normal traps basically, while also having synergy with like Alta guys, so like the Paleozoics. Anyway, I think my favorite card here though is probably just a Dupe Frog, because now I can probably disenchant one of my other copies, and now I have another Dupe Frog. Yeah. But I think besides that, I guess a dice draw, because like the thought of like being able to deal 6,000 damage with one card to your opponents does seem kind of fun. So yeah. So there's the pack opening. Definitely let me know what you thought about this pack opening. And let me know what your favorite card was from this pack opening, or favorite sets of cards, and why. I think it would be pretty cool if Konami did a burn festival, like where like you can only play cards that like deal damage to your opponent. That would be kind of cool. I wonder if Dice Jar would be one of the cards played there. I bet some people would probably play it just for fun, but its randomness probably holds it back a lot. Anyway, bye everyone.